Hi guys, I'm back. Let's start started with the third video in this series. Um, yeah, that's so. What's happening is, as I was showing earlier, right? Um, my job, which was earlier for getting this getting the features from the LLM model, which actually has tried using multiple models, and then I had the quota issue with the Azure OpenAI. Then I tried Hugging Face, and then finally I got the Gemini Pro model, and I used it to get the feature engineering done. Then applied the S mode, and then get the train validation and test data sets. And this is also visible. I was explaining this earlier as well. Things which I really caused me a lot of pain points while training, while doing this AutoML job, using the Gemini Pro model or like any LLM model. It depends on whether you have the quota as well or not. So let me see. This was there, right? So what actually happened was, just give me a moment. I know it's so I had a lot of issues, right? First of all, the data which I was downloading didn't have the data at all. Like it was a 0 byte file. Then I had issue running from the VS Code. These are the actual pain points which you have. You have to set up your environment, and it does take a lot of time. It has already taken me 3 4 hours or like maybe more than that. Then I have to change that asset type from URI files to URI folder. Then I have to also change my LLM components file, features file, .py file. I have to change the model and then API keys and so many things. So these are all the issues: wrong CSV path and dataset type. Azure Open AI deployment not found because of the quota issues. Then I tried Hugging Face. So these are the real points I talk about. And after that, I started with the AutoML job, which is I again in this job there were again hiccups in this. What happened was I had to um, register the train and test validation data set. They were there in the notebooks. Can you see? Like they were present in here, but they need to be registered into the data assets. So you can see is here, right? And the main data set. But I need to register them in the data assets, which is in here: fraud validation, fraud train. And then after that I have to rerun this AutoML job, and also the number of clusters and the number of nodes I have on my cluster, so which is actually in here. I want to show everything because I think people, I'm not sure how they actually, because the idle nodes is one. This is the compute I'm using, and and the pipeline job which ran earlier, from that pipeline job, which is actually this is submitting the pipeline as well as registering the components. From this pipeline I have picked up the pipeline job name, and based on that I have registered the train and test validation data set, and then I'm creating the AutoML job and creating three models using the fraud compute, and using a primary metric AUC weightage. And the three models which I'm training is XGBoost classifier, light GBM, and you can see it's still running in the running status failed. So it has failed. Let us see why it has failed. All right. So I started the model again, the AutoML job, and I'll share the screen. So what's happening is, um, I have to register the ML tables, and as you can see, this is still running. I think it's going to take a while because you are training three models and it is a large data set. Maybe I'm not sure how big the data set is, but it has around 28,000 rows or something, which is pretty good data set, and around like 27 columns. So yeah, let's and let it run for a while. And yep, all right. I have trained the AutoML model. Now we'll look into the details of the training, like what sort of like because there were four iterations which I've selected, and I'll share the screen now. So what happened was, I selected 20 trials, which itself was taking a longer time, which is not required initially when you are learning AutoML. So, and I have to train three models. So as you can see, so I have three iterations, 0, 1, 2, 3, and the fit time, for each iteration is there, and then the predicted cost and the run algorithm, XGBoost classifier, voting ensemble, and stack ensemble, and yeah, these and you can see the primary metric is AUC weightage, and experiment name is AutoML, for AutoML, and there must be something which says the best model, right? Algorithm name is maximum absolute scalar. So AUC weightage is simple and registered model low, not yet. Um, so out of all these models, best model summaries here, right? So light GBM and maximum absolute scalar and the hyperparameters you can see. Yeah, so you can even select the best model trained. And the model plus child jobs. So you can see AUC weightage for each model, and minimum data leave. So these are like different metrics and sampling. So output plus logs. I just wanted to see, child jobs. So these are the child jobs, right? So I think it needs a bit more detail. You can actually, but it's good enough to understand how AutoML works. You can train multiple models in AutoML, not just a single model you are training when you have like, I mean, you need to minimize the compute and the cluster cost, right? That's whole focus of me training three models on AutoML and showing you guys how it works. And now what I would do is my AutoML job is complete. I need to register the models, I need to what do I do next? What do I do next? Uh, I think I just misspelled AutoML job is complete. It will take another time to understand. Register the best model. So what I would do now is I would get the list of all the models and register the best model. What I would do is I would directly I am using multiple interfaces. You guys can choose for yourself. Because I mean it depends on what interface, because at one point in time, like registering best model, right? I will rename this as register model, right? Something like this, and I'll share all the files. You guys don't have to, so that you can use. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna see which one is the best model. So it will give me the list of all the models which I have trained, and let us see, So I have trained, these are the jobs which I have completed, and so it gives me list of all jobs which I have used, until now. So I will go up here, paste the job name of the completed AutoML job here, and I will give you the list of. So what I would do is I would just come up here, because this is I will just copy the name of the job because it was completed. Job name, this is the job name, and it will provide me how I can actually, I think I already have the script, but again, what I would do is I would register the best model. Yeah, 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 and then I will see the prediction on the registered model. So that's the whole point of training a model. What I would do is I already have these two components, right? I already have a file. Um, I'm not sure. There is register and deploy, right? So what I would do is I would replace this with this my current script so that because that was based on the previous dependencies which would have caused issues again, but again, this is a good. I think it's pretty in depth to even go through this video and understand how AutoML works, how you can train a model starting from getting your data set up until making a prediction on a batch of data. So this is actually is here, right? There's a sample input data on which I'm actually making testing my model. Let's run this. Getting best model auto ML job status completed, registering the best model using job output directly. I'm creating an endpoint now. Let us go here. The endpoint would appear. So endpoint would appear over here. If it is created, you will see an endpoint popping up over here. So it is popping up, right? Um, Yeah, it's like an end-to-end creation. I'm not going into the direction of MLOps, which again, it is itself a different trajectory. But again, I'm able to show you end-to-end how actually I did the feature engineering not manually, not in a traditional method, but using an LLM model to save on compute costs and avoid our iterations and our effort. Because why not? That's how it should be. That's my point of view. And yeah, so what it does is get the best child run from AutoML job, which is my job was this, and registers the best model to Azure ML model registry, and then deploys the model to endpoint and sets 100% traffic to blue deployment, right? Sends a test transaction and prints the fraud prediction, right? That's what is happening. So it's a dedicated resource, but make sure to delete this endpoint because it will cost you it does cost you a lot as far as I'm aware of. If you are not using it, maybe you can just delete it. I mean, you can keep it as long as you want to do the rerun the same model again and again to see the data drift and everything from a dedicated data source. So that's what you can do. And yeah, so prediction zero, legitimate transaction, fraud detected. So let us see in our. So it says, so it's not registered with subscription, please see code. So let us see what happened. So at each step there are issues. So it failed. Let me pause it here. Yes, we I ran the AutoML job, and I was able to run the model as well. Let me share my screen from where we left. So what I've done is, as I showed you, right, in the notebook itself, if you look at the AutoML job, I reduced the max trials to 4 and max concurrent trials to 1, training all three models. So now, and as I was able to show it earlier, right, these are the jobs which, so it didn't happen on the first go, right? So it does require a few iterations to even, I mean, run an AutoML job when you are training three models at one go and using your fraud compute. The next step was to go on to the register and deploy. So in the register and deploy, I was able to create an endpoint which is actually in here. You can see an endpoint. I was trying to create a real-time endpoint, but again, that's not suitable for the kind of data I am looking for. So I created this fraud batch endpoint. As you can see, So it is a like a deployment blue deployment. There are two types of deployment, blue and green. You can check on any chat GPT or any, wherever you want to. This is the REST API. And the next thing what I did on the endpoint was to create a job on the endpoint so that I can test my fraud input data, which is in here, fraud scoring input, right? There are multiple versions of it because it did fail for me multiple times. And as you can see, this is actually doing a batch scoring at the moment. And I have taken the fraud detection model, right, which is deployed on my batch endpoint. And then I'm taking the data from the fraud input data score and then providing a batch scoring for it, which will be visible soon. So all in all, it has taken a few iterations. As you can see, the number of files. I'll publish all these files onto the GitHub repo, and I'll show you how I actually will do onto the GitHub repo. So what I've done is using the Azure Key Vault, right? What you can do is this is the best method to do it. You create a Key Vault service, and you would need, for example, while creating a Key Vault. So this video comprises of multiple things. So um, it's not a bit easier. It's a bit tricky, you know. You select your resource group and then you name the service, right? That's not enough, you know, because what happens is you need to have an IAM role. For example, this one, right? So you can see an access IAM role. I created an IAM role. So view my access. So Key Vault service is pretty good. You use Key Vault principles so that it grants me the full access. Yeah, fraud Key Vault, not that one. This one is the one which I will use to publish onto the GitHub repo. What I've done is I've in the objects, you can go to secrets and put up your GitHub token over there. Yeah, I don't want to show it. So GitHub pad token, right? And then you can directly, for example, all my files are on this compute, right? Which is a compute instance which is running in here. I connect this with my GitHub repo and then publish onto the public repository all the files which I have done. So that including the data set and everything. So I'll just publish it over there and I'll place the repo description in the repo in the video description so it's easier. There are so many steps involved. As you can see, there are so many files in here, right? I'll share all the files, and did take me a lot of time to be honest. So if you guys think this is like worth watching, please like and subscribe. That will help me to make more videos of this kind. Let us see our job. This is the job which is running. I'm not sure how long it's going to take. And also, what you can do is so there are different components, right? So you can see, right, just to train, even using the LLM, right, and then training in AutoML took me an entire day. And yeah, it although I mean I'm kind of aware of how Azure ML works because there are so many things involved. So it takes a lot of effort to even prepare this. But again, I'm able to create an end-to-end pipeline, which itself is a good thing, you know. And it, yeah, I did went through few hiccups, but at the end, so what is my overall outcome from this video is I'm able to use LLM to get the feature engineering done. Then so that I am not going through a lot of iterations. Then I'm using AutoML to train three models and then I select the best model. So again, I'm trying to save a lot on the compute cost and minimize my time for code. It's like a not a low code solution because again, I am doing a lot of coding in here, right? There's so many files involved. I have to this is not required, and I'm running all the this compute instance in my VS Code. I've connected my subscription. So again, there are so many things involved in here, not just one thing. I'm not sure how many videos of Azure ML even exist, even from the. I'm not sure. Like I've not seen many of them to be honest. Like they are so much here and there. So if you let it publish, and I think this should go fine as far as I, and you can see like the data assets. So it has taken me so much of effort, right? Fraud validation, fraud train, fraud data set. So this is like a lot of effort. I hope you guys and get something through this video. And also I showed you, right, how I was able to. So what I would do is now I won't want to extend the video too long because again it's really difficult to get a lot of out of it if the video is too long. And I want to connect my compute instance to my GitHub repo so that I can publish all my files onto the repo, right? Onto the repo. Onto the repo file, our batch scoring is being done, right? And I have Key Vault ready. So Key Vault services itself, there are people making tutorials on it. Key Vault service ready. So let's do this. I already have my GitHub repo, right? What I would do is conda activate pip install. Then in Jupyter, I would just run this, open terminal in Jupyter and run this, right? Install Azure Key Vault services. What I would do is I would go to Jupyter here. I think I already have this here. So what I would do is, what do I need? I just need a terminal, right? And what I need to do is I want to install. So it would say, oh, it already exists. That's fine. And now what I would do is I would create another file which I will rename as GitHub publish, something like that, because GitHub publish, so that it's easier for me to do, right? Otherwise it takes a longer time, and I need to put up my GitHub credentials. Or maybe what you can do is you can clone. This is the longer path. Let's take this one. Anyways, you are just writing the files onto the GitHub. Mm, and I have my key vault overview. This is my key vault. I would just paste in here so that the client pad retrieved successfully. Where is my GitHub? Open get credentials. Alright, I'll just pause the video for a while. Let's start. I think I did clone my repo, and what I've done is I've used this file. I'll just keep this file code as it is. You can use your own repo. I have an empty repo. So I've cloned the repo using the terminal. What is the next step? Now you need to do is all the files, right? So I want to clone all the files, I want to add all the files, to my Git repo, right? So that you guys can see everything, you know, instead of just doing one thing. I've already connected to my Git branch main, Git init, you know, and then all the files, add all files, right? What I can do is I can check here what all files I have so that I can actually do fraud detection pipelines. I can create another terminal to see what do I have, right? These are all the files I have. So, what I would do is copy all these files. These are all the files. These are all the files, so that you guys can have a look. Clone repo folder, which is this. So what I do is I will go to my cloned repo folder now, and now I will completely copy all of it so that copied, and then what I would do is I would just git ignored. So what I would do is, yep, and then last step is, yes, actually I wanted to do with Azure SageMaker, but I could not do it. Yes, what is it saying? So this is I'm getting present working directory. So what do you do is, it's for a while. So I'm able to connect with my Git, and what I would now do is I just commit all the files to the Git repo so that we are able to see everything in one repo. I'm not doing it manually, so none of my process is manual. That's what I want my viewers, like, I mean, it's like to avoid the manual things, I just don't want to do manuals. I will push everything to the repo. Now it's all done. Now what I can actually check whether those files, how to check so they have actually reached. So I'll share the repo with you guys for GitHub repo and in the video description, and I'll share all the files of whatever I've done so that you guys are able to replicate the same. You will be I think you will also be stuck at some places. It's very unlikely you are not stuck. So please make sure to follow the same steps and the way I've done. I mean, using Azure ML, Gemini, API key, Gemini LLM, Azure Keyword Service, using the Jupyter Lab, VS Code. I mean, I've given the whole day to this series. I hope you guys like it. And before I finish off the video, please do comment how was this series, and which are the main issues where you got stuck at, and also yeah, it's really interesting to do this Azure ML model training using AutoML. It's similar to an autopilot on Amazon SageMaker, but I'm not using Amazon SageMaker. I think there's one last thing which is remaining. Let me share my screen. I think I was training the job wherein I was doing the batch endpoint prediction, right? It's still running, right? So maybe I'll just, yeah, it's something which is going to take some time. But again, it's more likely I was just wanted to show the process how it works out. This can be it's I think it is very important that you get a good batch score. But again, not for this video. Maybe in the next video I can show you how do we focus on the batch scoring and the predictions and the other parameters which we use. So with this, I would like to end this video. I hope you kind of like this video and please support me, guys. Thank you.